Okay, this program is going to enable us to investigate the ultrasonic sensor. Remember, the ultrasonic sensor can detect objects, so it can tell how far away they are, how close they are. It can be used by the robot to avoid them, drive around them, pick them up, whatever. So the ultrasonic sensor detects objects and tells distance, how far away things are. So let's look at the program. While one, remember, that's going to be a loop that does something forever. It does forever what is inside the corresponding curly brackets, so this code is going to go around and around and around as long as this condition is true, and since 1 is always 1, that would be forever. So it's going to drive forward, turn the motor on, but let's jump to line number 2. Brain.screen print. We know that that means it's going to display something on the screen of the V5. What is it going to display? Well, we have two parts of this that we need to understand. What's inside the quotes? %.1f. Percent is going to call or refer to some, usually sensor, and so it's not going to print what's inside the quotation marks, but some other reference that we'll talk about. But before we tell what the reference is going to be, this F. The F is float, and that means that this is going to be some kind of number with a decimal. The 1 actually tells how many decimal places to take it out to. So percent dot or period 1F. It's going to be a decimal with 1 decimal place. Well, what decimal is it going to be showing us on the screen? We tell it here. The ultrasonic distance, whatever that is, and we know that that's the ultrasonic sensor because we have configured it in our configuration window. So the percent, it can be other things than the F for float. In this case, it is a float decimal, and I believe it has to be. And so it's going to tell us, it's going to display on the VEX V5 screen how far away any object is to our ultrasonic sensor. Notice that's different from this next line where we do brain.screen.print. So we're going to display something on the V5 screen, but in this case, we just put a word inside the quotation marks. If you put a normal word inside the quotation marks, it will display that word. But %.1f is going to be a sort of a special command, and it's telling let's put in there a value that it and we'll tell it what value after the comma. So one last thing, we have this commented out. Let's comment out the while 1 and uncomment the line above it. If we did this, then while 1 would have had this piece of code repeating forever. In this case, though, we say while the ultrasonic distance, and let's add to this, let's say as long as the ultrasonic is getting a reading that's greater than 300. So that pretty much means if things are a certain distance away, as long as they're pretty far away, we're going to keep on going forward. Once they're not, once an object got closer than 300, then it would jump out of this loop and go to whatever happened next, which in this case was stop. So if we change this while and we add a condition that refers to a particular sensor, in this case the sonar, and we say a value for the sonar, well, as long as it's greater than 300, do this. But once it's greater than 300, then this condition is no longer true. It jumps out of the loop, sees what's next, and in this case stops.